Good afternoon. My name's Everett Colby, and I will be doing my discussion board question on what was the impact of Christianity in the American founding. I hope this video finds everybody well. I'm enjoying lovely Korea, so bear with my time difference, and I hope you take away from my video what I feel was the impact of Christianity in the American founding. We hold these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. By putting Creator, the fathers of our great nation, cited God as the basis of our natural rights. The United States of America was settled by men and women of deep religious convictions who, in the 17th century, crossed the Atlantic to practice their faith freely. That the religious intensity of the original settlers would diminish to some extent over time was inevitable, which perhaps in some avenues was expected. But new waves of 18th century immigrants brought their own religious fervor across the Atlantic, and the nation's first major religious revival in the middle of the 18th century injected new breath into the American religion. The result was that the religious people rose in rebellion against Great Britain in 1776, and that most American statesmen, when they began to form new governments at the state and national levels, they shared the convictions of most of their constituents that religion was indispensable to the maintenance of the Republican institutions. The efforts of the founders of the American nation to define the role of religious faith in public life and the degree to which it could be supported by public officials that was not inconsistent with the revolutionary imperatives of the equality and freedom of all citizens. America was the haven for those seeking religious freedom. The founding of America's republic government can be best described as the pinnacle of our American Christian heritage. Among other things, the influence of Christianity has spread into the concept of freedom and rights of the individual. Without this freedom, there is no real freedom of economic, political, or religious level. From its inception, Christianity has placed a high value on the individual in stark contrast to the Greco-Roman culture in which the individual was always subordinate to the state. We must not forget that our human rights are derived from the Christian faith. In Christian terms, every single human being, whoever he or she may be, is sick or well, clever or foolish, beautiful or ugly, every human being is loved by his Creator, who, as the gospel tells us, counted the hairs on his head. Individual freedom has led to many positive effects in the history of America. The Bible itself is responsible for much of the language, literature, and fine arts we enjoy today, as its artists and composers were heavily influenced by its writings. Most importantly, education. Education in early America was built on the heels of the Reformation of the 16th century, which stressed reclamation of all life with education as an essential transforming force. Christianity's influence on education can be seen at its very inception with the teachings of Jesus Christ, who used words, parables, and human life illustrations and taught others who then would become teachers themselves. Going through our readings over the past week, it discussed the early onset of, the influence of Christianity, Puritanism, Calvinism, and the different entities and derivatives of the Christian heritage. But I chose to do my discussion question on overall Christian faith because at the very root of it, that's what it is. Minus the little nitnoids of what everybody believes in or back then, and its real shaping of America. One of the impacts of my readings was everybody liked to be the first, and it was like it was Spain first, the Germans were here, the Dutch settlements, and whatnot and so forth. Everybody played an influence into the founding of America, and we derived our culture from the melting pot of cultures and said, hey, that is why we have religious freedoms, and that is what makes us more important. John Adams once said, it is religion and morality alone that we can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand. The only foundation of a free constitution is pure virtue. And I believe that the melting pot of all those religious freedoms and the people trying to get away from their oppression and being told what their religious freedom should be is what makes us the greatest nation on earth. Once again, I hope this finds you all well, and I hope you guys have a great week. And I hope that my video pushes forward the conversation in which this class is based on. Thank you very much. Mahalo. Have a great night. Signing off from Korea.